Hi everyone, it's Eva Angeline here at etrailer, and today we'll be taking a look at the Kuat Sherpa 2.0 2-bike platform rack here on our 2020 Jeep Wrangler Unlimited. Now, honestly, your bike rack options are limited when it comes to your Jeep Wrangler Unlimited because of where your spare tire is. So the way this bike rack works, is that it is one of the few bike racks that will fit with your vehicle, but you'll still have to make sure that your bike will fit it because of those clearance issues. So we'll go through and see how our bike fits as well as how our bike rack fits so that you can decide if it's the right fit for you. Okay, first off, we'll take a look at one of the features, which is that this tilts away. To do so, you pull this lever right over here and you just drop it down to a tilt, and you'll want to do this if you want to open your door. So we'll see how much clearance we actually have here with our Jeep. As we swing our door open, the first thing that will make contact is our tire right to where it's tilted away. So you have honestly very limited clearance, but if you just need to grab something out where it's close to the door, this gives you the opportunity to do so. Still not as cool as if it was a swing away bike rack where it would give you full clearance to the back of your vehicle, but just enough to give you a little bit. All right, now we'll move on to the next thing, which is we'll talk about weight capacity. So this has a weight capacity of 40 pounds per bike, slightly more than the average weight capacity, which is usually 35 pounds, but not as much as if you have, let's say, a heavy electric bike. So your options for that would be either the Kuat NV or the Inno tire hold. But my bike over here, this weighs about 39 pounds, slightly more than our traditional bike rack would carry, but perfectly fine with the Kuat Sherpa. Notice also how it's mounted. So we have this front wheel hook, and it's holding down our bike by the front wheel, which is great. I really like all the bikes that have that style because the traditional bike rack has a hook that holds it by the frame, and if you have, let's say, a step-through bike or a women's bike in our case, or sometimes your children's bikes, you would still need to get a separate frame adapter bar because the hooks don't come down far enough or give enough support. With this kind of frame, you don't need to worry about that. Also, with a carbon frame bike, you wouldn't need to worry about that either because it holds your bike by the tires and not the frame, meaning you don't warp or scratch your frame. It also holds it down by this wheel strap. So when you want to take your bike off, that wheel strap is where you start. You press this lever over here and you just lift up on the strap, and I like to move it a little bit towards the side so it's not tangled up in my spokes. Then I come over to the front and make sure to hold on to your bike as we do so. Actually, before we continue, notice how I have normal sized pedals on our bike, and we still have clearance with our spare tire. Now, depending on where you put those pedals though, you may lose that clearance. So if you have it over towards the side, you will come in contact with the spare tire. You can just tilt your bike rack down, move your pedals around, and just fix that. So that is not that big of an issue. Okay, hold your bike by the frame, press this button, bring this up, bring that out, and from here, you just lift the bike up and over, and then you're ready to go on a bike ride. So we'll just leave this bike to the side so that we can take a closer look at the bike rack itself. So we have this rear wheel cradle, and this tilts back and forth to accommodate different wheel bases. We also have this extra heavy duty strap. It's thicker than most of your other rear wheel straps, and this ratchets down to secure that tire as well as that wheel. We also have this compact front wheel cradle. So compared to other bike racks where it sticks out beside the bike rack, this folds down to be nice and neat. Now, the maximum tire width this can accommodate is tire widths of up to 3 inches. If you have a fat tire bike, it's not going to fit in there, but most of your tires, or most tires on most bikes, are within that 3-inch width capacity. You also have this front wheel clamp or mount, and this just folds down, again, to be nice, neat, and compact. Depending on where your spare tire is, you may want to put this out to the side just to get the most clearance you can. Honestly, on our Wrangler Unlimited, that wasn't an issue. So let's talk about another thing, which is dimensions. So when you have this on your vehicle, there is going to be some length added to it, so we'll take some measurements just to see exactly how much. So we'll measure from our bumper to the end of the bike rack, which is over here, and that's 35 inches of length added to the back of our vehicle. Very standard for a 2-bike platform rack, but still a measurement to remember whenever you're backing into your garage or parking in a tight spot. Please don't forget that you have both a bike rack and your bikes behind you. We'll also take a quick look at ground clearance. So that's going to be underneath the trays to the ground, 25 inches. Then underneath the shank to the ground, 17 inches. Now for your Jeep, you're not worried about ground clearance because it is sitting higher up than most of your other sedans and SUVs. So whenever people go up inclines like driveways or hills, sometimes they worry about ground clearance. You won't have to worry about it, but it's still nice to see the measurements for it. Okay, we'll now make it or move it into the compact position. And to do so, you pull this lever and you just fold it up just like that. So we'll take a look at the compact position. This is the portable position for when you're not planning on taking your bikes out, but you also don't want to take your bike rack off completely. You just fold it up so it's nice and easy. The length added in this position will now be from the bumper to the furthest point, which is actually going to be by this knob, and that's only about 16 inches away. The tray itself is going to sit 10 inches away from your bumper. Another thing with it folded up is notice how our taillights are completely visible. So I've seen bike racks that actually cover it because they're so wide. This is nice and compact. The closest point is going to be from, let's say, this front wheel mount to the wheel, and you have about 1.5 inches of clearance, so no worries about that either. Now, one thing about this is your backup camera sits right over here. Technically, it's within that opening of your arm as well as your tray, but it will cover your view through your backup camera. If you are concerned about it, you can just fold this right back down and leave it in the downwards position if you want that view out of your camera. But if you would prioritize holding it up, it's really up to you. It's very easy to move it up and down if needed. Okay, let's talk about how this fits into our hitch. So our Jeep has a 2-inch hitch receiver, and this version of the Sherpa has a 2-inch shank. This fits right into the receiver. We get a hitch pin and a lock. With this bike rack, you'll also get a cable lock that plugs right into the center of the tray, and you'll only need to use one key to access both the cable lock and your hitch receiver lock. So that way you can secure both your bike rack and your bikes. The way this tightens down is it's tool free. All you need to do is pop it into the hitch and rotate this handy knob. And once this is fully tightened down, it extends the ball cam, and we'll do a quick shake test. Like that. As we shake our bike rack, we're mainly shaking our vehicle, showing how secure that fit is between the bike rack and our hitch receiver, making for a smoother ride for your bikes overall. You'll still get some bouncing around as you do go over those rocks, but it is nice to see that you won't get extra rattle from an improper fit. Now what we have here, let's talk about looks. This is the one in gray, but you can also get this in black and pearl. I really like how the gray looks with the orange accents here on our Jeep, but of course it depends on how your Jeep looks. It's definitely the more compact of the Kuat NV bike racks. I think it looks great. If you want something with a little bit more premium features, maybe check out the Kuat NV. If you have an electric bike rack, the Kuat NV is a great option for you. If you just want a bike rack that gives you clearance around your spare tire, has just enough of those premium features to make it really easy to use, especially that front wheel clamp, I definitely recommend the Kuat Sherpa. Middle of the road bike rack, not as pricey as those heavier capacity ones, but still easier to use than those more affordable ones. So that was a really quick look here at our Kuat Sherpa 2.0 2-bike platform rack here on our 2020 Jeep Wrangler Unlimited. Here on our test course, we'll start by going through the slalom. This is going to show us the side-to-side action, which simulates turning corners or evasive maneuvers. Once we get to the alternating speed bumps, we'll see the twisting action. This will simulate hitting a curb or a pothole or driving over uneven pavement. Now lastly, we're going over some full speed bumps, and we can see here the up and down action, and this will just be like driving in and out of a parking lot, garage, or driveway. So we can see here how the bike rack moves with our truck.